Under a canopy of 1,000,000 stars, brighter than any city's fire, Spartacus was born. The crisp Thracian air bit at his newborn skin, a stark contrast to the warmth of his mother's embrace. The wind, a constant companion in this land, sang a lullaby, carrying the scent of wild thyme and the distant bleating of sheep. His father, Rhesus, a man whose face mirrored the weathered peaks of their homeland, cradled him with a calloused hand. In that moment, under the watchful gaze of the Great Bear constellation, Spartacus' destiny was woven into the fabric of the wind. His childhood was a symphony of nature's melodies. Days were spent chasing butterflies across golden fields, learning the secrets of the whispering grasslands from his grandfather, an old man with eyes that held the wisdom of countless moons. He wrestled playful cubs, their playfulness a reminder of the untamed spirit that resided within him. Nights were spent huddled around crackling fires, listening to tales of legendary Thracian warriors, their courage a beacon in the darkness. As Spartacus grew, his body hardened under the relentless Thracian sun. He learned the art of hunting from his father, tracking deer with an almost preternatural sense of awareness. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig became a language he understood. He practiced with the spear, its weight becoming an extension of his arm, its thrust as swift and deadly as a striking serpent. His laughter echoed across the plains as he sparred with his best friend, Varus, a boy with fiery red hair and a mischievous grin. They were inseparable, bound by a loyalty forged in shared adventures and childhood dreams. Teenage years brought new challenges. The stories of Roman expansion, whispered on the wind like a harbinger of doom, cast a shadow over their idyllic existence. Spartacus, no longer a boy but a man on the cusp of adulthood, felt a growing unease settle in his gut. Daily training intensified, the wooden spear replaced with the cold weight of steel. The once playful wrestling matches with Varus became serious tests of strength and endurance. Their carefree laughter was laced with a newfound determination to protect their families, their land, their very way of life. One crisp autumn morning, the dreaded news arrived. Roman legions, a glint of steel on the horizon, marched towards their peaceful villages. A shiver ran down Spartacus' spine. The stories of Roman cruelty, whispered around campfires, suddenly felt terrifyingly real. Fear hung heavy in the air, a stark contrast to the usual boisterous laughter of the Thracians. Yet, amidst the fear, a fierce resolve flickered in Spartacus' eyes. He wouldn't let these invaders trample his homeland. He wouldn't stand idly by as his people were enslaved. The ensuing battle was a whirlwind of chaos. The clash of steel reverberated across the plains, screams of the wounded pierced the air, and the metallic scent of blood mingled with the earthy fragrance of their land. Spartacus, fueled by a desperate patriotism and a burning love for his home, fought with the ferocity of a cornered wolf. He moved with the grace of a predator he'd hunted all his life, his spear a deadly extension of his will. But the Romans, well-trained and disciplined, were a ruthless force. One by one, his comrades fell around him, their cries echoing his own grief. A searing pain erupted in his shoulder as a Roman spear found its mark. He collapsed, the world blurring, the taste of defeat thick on his tongue. Spartacus awoke to a suffocating darkness, the rhythmic rocking of the vessel a cruel mockery of the windswept plains he called home. The familiar faces of his tribe were gone, replaced by a sea of weary faces, etched with despair. He was a slave now, stripped of his identity, his name replaced by a branding iron's mark. The journey that followed was a blur of pain, fear, and the crushing weight of uncertainty. Days were spent crammed in the fetid hold of the ship, nights under a sky filled with unfamiliar constellations. Hunger gnawed at his insides, and the ever-present threat of violence hung heavy in the air. But even in the depths of despair, the spirit of Spartacus wouldn't be broken. He clung to the memories of his homeland, the warmth of his family's embrace, the echo of Varus' laughter. These memories fueled a silent rebellion within him, a flicker of defiance that refused to be extinguished. He was a warrior, a son of Thrace, and he wouldn't let his spirit be crushed. As the ship finally docked in a bustling Roman port, Spartacus was separated from the others, sold to a cruel slave trader. He found himself in a bustling marketplace, surrounded by the sights and sounds of an alien world. The air reeked of sweat, sewage, and the metallic tang of blood. Here, humanity was a commodity, displayed like cattle, their spirits dimmed but not extinguished. Spartacus caught the eye of another slave, a massive Gaul named Draba. Draba, with a mane of fiery red hair and eyes that held the defiance of a thunderstorm, stood a head taller than most and emanated a raw power that even the Roman guards respected with a wary distance. Their eyes met, a spark of shared understanding passing between them. This encounter with Draba would be a turning point for Spartacus. Though separated by language, a bond of shared suffering and simmering rebellion would ignite within them. It would be the first ember in a fire that would soon engulf not just Spartacus, but countless others yearning for freedom. The tales of his homeland, the whispers of resistance he'd share with Draba, and the skills honed under the Thracian sky, all would become the weapons he'd wield in the battles to come. Though the path ahead was shrouded in darkness, a flicker of hope, fueled by defiance, now burned brightly within Spartacus. This wasn't the end of his story, but the beginning of a legend, the legend of the Thracian rebel who dared to challenge the mighty Roman Empire. The marketplace would become Spartacus' crucible. Here, the harsh realities of Roman domination would sear themselves into his soul. He would witness acts of cruelty that would harden his resolve and fuel his hatred for his captors. Yet, amidst the despair, the memory of Thrace would remain a beacon. The wind whispering through the tall grasses, the warmth of family by the crackling fire, the echo of Varus' laughter, these memories would become his armor, shielding him from despair and reminding him of the life he was fighting to reclaim. Draba, with his fiery spirit and imposing stature, would become Spartacus' confidant and an unexpected source of strength. Together, they would navigate the treacherous waters of the slave world, forging alliances with others who shared their yearning for freedom. Whispers of rebellion would become a rallying cry, uniting men from distant lands under a common banner. The skills honed in their respective homelands, Spartacus' mastery of the spear and Draba's raw, brute strength, would become the foundation for a fighting force unlike any the Romans had ever encountered. The road to freedom would be paved with hardship and sacrifice. There would be escapes thwarted in the dead of night, blood spilled in desperate struggles, and countless comrades lost to Roman brutality. Yet, with every setback, the fire within Spartacus would burn brighter. He would become a symbol of hope, a beacon for the downtrodden, a leader who dared to dream of a world where men were not slaves but warriors fighting for their birthright, freedom. The legend of Spartacus, the Wind Singer, was just beginning to take shape. The whispers of rebellion would soon erupt into a storm that would shake the very foundations of the Roman Empire. The battles to come would be etched in history, a testament to the unwavering spirit of a man who dared to defy an empire. This was not just Spartacus' story, it was a story of courage, defiance, and the unwavering fight for a life lived in freedom. This wasn't the end of his story, but the beginning of a legend, The legend of the Thracian rebel who dared to challenge the mighty Roman Empire. Thank you for watching. Please comment below what you would like to see next.